Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Nobody's Listening here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. This is the place where everyone goes for all their Star Wars news, needs,
Obviously.
observations. We're coming off last week. We saw Chapter 23, The Spies of Season 3 of The Mandalorian. We weren't hot on it. We said there was some good stuff in it, but there was no substance in a lot of ways to it. And but hey, we're coming into this episode optimistic. This is the last time we're going to see the Mandalorian show for probably 2 years. And hey, they're going to stick the landing, right? They've stuck the landing on the previous seasons. We're going to figure out who the spy is. We're going to figure out what Gideon's grand plan was. It's all going to come together. We're probably going to see Thrawn. That's going to be exciting, right?
Right.
We might get Ahsoka popping in there. Cannot wait.
Sabine's got to show up, right? I mean, it's all the Mandalorians, and we haven't seen her yet, right?
Yeah.
Sabine will be here.
Boba Fett's a Mandalorian. You think he'd show up too? I mean, wow, we have all these expectations. Retaking of Mandalore. How's it all going to go down?
How you doing, Matthew? Are you okay? All right. I'm holding you from afar, my friend. We got this. We can do this, all right?
We're going to have a good cry at the end of this or celebrate. We'll see.
Like the Mandalorians, we're stronger together, Matthew.
Yes.
All right. So this episode picks up essentially right where we left off. Bo has escaped thanks to the incredible sacrifice of Big Daddy Vizsla, R.I.P. Big Daddy, rest in power.
I wonder if they're going to go back and get him. Like,
what would be left?
Well, the thing is, like, maybe I'm already jumping ahead, but I was like, wouldn't it have been cool to see, like, a really cool funeral sequence for Big Daddy Vizsla at the end of this episode? That would have been cool, right?
He kind of got a Viking funeral, if you think about it.
Okay.
Why would you show? I'm sure they'll just tell us in exposition. Anyway, so Bo has escaped. She gets on the Mando walkie-talkie and is like, Axe, Moff is alive. You need to get all of the Mandalorians that are up in space and get them the heck out of there because reinforcements are coming and they're going to take him out. We've got to, basically, they need to join forces because Mandos are stronger together and because it's like a one-and-done situation. Din and Grogu, who have been taken captive, Din wakes up and together they successfully fight off the guards. And another good little action scene here. It's nice to see Din being a badass, burninating people, snapping necks. And then of course Grogu's power armor came in pretty handy in this scene. How are you feeling at this point?
How am I feeling at this point? I'm already in a very negative state, right? From the last episode, because now when you have when the penultimate episode of a show leaves you really fraught with what's the word I'm looking for here? Like sad. Like I'm sad, I'm frustrated, I'm angry. I'm going to look at the finale with extra
side eye.
Yeah. I'm like, well, what are we doing here? And I'm like, in the last episode, they they set these Beskar stormtroopers essentially as these big sort of, this is going to be the thing that allows sort of Gideon, right, to usurp Thrawn and do all this shit. I'm like, Mando's taking these things out on his own. Big Daddy Vizsla took out all of them with a heavy repeater. I'm like, well, these things aren't. These are just stormtroopers with Beskar. I see nothing from any of these things. It's the same problem that Star Wars has anytime they go to the stormtrooper well, right? Stormtroopers notoriously they can't do anything. It was hilarious when Taika's episode, when he's showing that they can't shoot anything. Hilarious. It's great. They're useless. But now we're going to try to make stormtroopers badass, right? Well, I saw that once before with the Death Troopers. They did nothing. Now I've seen it with Beskar troopers. They do nothing. And I'm like, this is cool. Like, the choreography of this is cool, sweet, great. But it's meaningless. Because they haven't done anything. They didn't kill any Mandalorians. I didn't even see one of these things actually kill a Mandalorian. Maybe they did, but they didn't focus on it or anything.
Right.
Like, why are these things badasses? I still don't know.
I mean, well, maybe that goes to the fact that the Mandalorians are just that badass, right?
Or they're
Right?
just bad.
All right, fine. All right, so Din and Grogu, they escape, and Moff learns of this, and he knows they are because he has a map that shows them escaping. And I don't know if you notice this detail, but this is a very custom map. It has one big red dot and one little green dot.
I saw it, and I'm like, I could not believe how stupid that was. And then he's just like, fine, I'll take care of it myself. I'm just like, this is so bad. It's so bad. The writing is so bad. And this is the beginning of the episode.
I know. Okay, this next part is fun, though. You stay with me here. Okay.
Okay.
Din, he overcomes his distrust of droids and enlists the help of R5, who flies down and hacks into the mainframe, which, to be fair, feels like a little bit of a design flaw for your super secret, top secret, stronghold.
This is just
you have access to the outside.
This is par for the course for the Empire.
I guess that's true.
Design flaws and everything, and this was another thing that pissed me off a little bit.
No!
I'm like, didn't we just have an episode focused on Din hating droids? Hating them. Where Bo-Katan was basically trying to calm him down a little bit when he walks into a droid bar because he fucking hates them. And now again he's back to liking droids again. It's just these shifts in character tone, and they're no.
Okay, but as a set piece, it's fun because we've got R5 fighting off the little mouse droids that are with their little arms and stuff. It feels very Star Warsy
It does.
to me.
It does, and that's what I think. That's what Jon Favreau wanted. He's like, this is gonna feel Star Wars. People will like this.
Listen, let me have my silver lining, Matthew.
Sure, go ahead.
No, I know. And then I do like this action set piece where he is unarmed and moving through each of these subsequent layers of shielded rooms and defeating the Beskar armored stormtroopers and picking up new weapons as he goes. As a action set piece, this is cool. It's very video gamey. I could see Cal Kestis doing this.
Yeah, it's very Qui-Gon, Darth Maul, and Phantom Menace. That's what it is. Yeah, the action's cool. I mean, it looks good, but I'm just like I don't understand why we're doing this. I don't even understand why the Beskar stormtroopers are always standing right there. Even in the previous episode when Gideon's walking around and stuff, it's they're all in between these red shields. What are the red shields for? Why are they standing there?
I think it's meant to show that whatever is behind this is so important, must be so protected so much that it has layers of shields, and in between each of them there are two guards. I think it's meant to underline how important whatever is behind these is, whatever is in this command center.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
It does make sense, damn you, Matthew.
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. So he gets through them, of course, because he is the Mando, and that means he is the man, right? You don't have Mando without the man. So once inside, he discovers Gideon's basically I'm going to call it his Narcissitorium. Where it's just a ton of clones of himself.
Jeez.
Just a ton of them. Oh, God. So, we did get season 1 question answered. Now we know what he was doing. He was not for the Empire. It was literally just for himself.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, we got an answer.
Okay.
Yay. Was it a satisfying answer? I don't think so. No, not a satisfying answer. And what was so funny about this scene, they do this the jump scare with Grogu walks up and his eyes open and stuff like that, and and then immediately Mando just we're gonna blow them all up, which is fine, but I'm like, couldn't we have built to the? It's over so quickly. It's I walk in the room, oh, there's clones. piece it all together. And if you can't piece it together now, don't worry. In about 30 seconds, we're going to monologue what was actually going on, just for the people who weren't exactly sure. And then boom, they're done, they're over, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Three
it's very,
seasons, 3 seasons over
I
in the
mean,
span of like 20 seconds.
oh, you think that's bad? Wait till another plot point resolves itself. But like this is, I was kind of like, whoa, when he did it. It's very like abortive, like the way the water breaks and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wow, Star Wars is pro-choice. It's official. All right, so which that's good. So we cut to Bo where she's like hanging out with the survivors on the planet, and they take her to this underground garden where they've basically created these farms essentially of the native plants that they've cultivated, and it represents sort of like the hope of the future of Mandalore. Like if they're able to successfully take it back from Moff Gideon, there is a future for this planet. It is not just destroyed like just a hellscape.
I love this scene.
Me
loved
too.
It.
Me too.
This was great. This is what I wanted in the entire season, was this kind of stuff. And I love that. I love Katie Sackhoff and how she plays this, because she's like shocked, right? You're like, what do you mean these are the original plants from Mandalore? And I love the idea that there's been this society of Mandalorians living underground, working farms, trying to bring their world back to life, essentially. And I just wish it wasn't a 30-second scene in the finale of season 3. I wish that they, here's what I would have done. I would have had a scene like this, like in the previous episode, because that then shows what kind of stakes are at play, right? We're building stakes at that point, rather than just kind of, it felt like a little throwaway. Like we have to kind of throw this in here before we get to all the monologuing and the stuff like that. Like I wanted some more building. Why couldn't when Din and Bo-Katan were there earlier in the season when they're roaming the stuff? What if Din, maybe it wasn't even Bo, what if it was Din who just happened to see a weird little plant? And you're like, what is that? Maybe Grogu goes up to it and sees a plant, and Din is like confused as to like what it is and whatnot. Like, give us a little tease, and then we see these Mandalorians have been growing all these, farms and in gardens and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just a writer. What do I know?
Well, this scene does not last very long because the armor arrives. She's returned with reinforcements, and we get honestly the most epic of jetpack battles. And say what you will about everything about this season, I will take on board all of your criticisms, but seeing Bo-Katan rushing into battle with the Darksaber is awesome. It's just great. It made me so happy.
It was so cool, and seeing the armor, she just got a freaking hammer.
Yeah,
that's all she's got. It looked cool. It was exhilarating. It was thrilling. I can't really find criticism with the actual scene and the spectacle of what that was. I can critique like, well, 3 episodes ago they couldn't even catch a goddamn space hawk because their jetpacks ran out of fuel, and now they're flying into outer space with jetpacks. They're flying all over the place. Let me set that aside and just enjoy it for the spectacle of it, and that was cool. That was really cool.
Well, I mean, it's also just so many years in the making. Like, it visually looks, it's so, the Darksaber itself looks amazing. And so when you see her wielding it and flying with a jetpack, like all of these, like all the iconography of it coming together just out of context looks great. But there's so much depth to it from watching the way that this thing has passed through different hands and the impacts it's had on like legacies of a family and an entire planet, and like how it ties into Jedi lore. Like all of that stuff makes it deeply meaningful. And
And
And in a season where we're lacking that, it feels important.
It does, and I have no problem admitting, like, I started to tear up a little bit when I saw it, because I'm like, this means so much to me. Like, this means so
Yeah.
much after all this investment I've put in. I feel so great for the Bo-Katan character, and it's like,
Yes.
like you said, it means so much. Now,
Earned.
an average person who hasn't seen the Clone Wars, I don't think it means anything on an emotional level
No.
to them. None at
No.
all. But that, again, it gave me that point, just like, and I remembered, I don't know what show we were doing or something. You asked me, like, when was the last time you cried while watching like a show or something? And I actually ruminated on that for a while, and I keep forgetting to tell you, like, it was the finale of season 2 of Mando.
Oh, really?
It was when Luke Skywalker showed up, because that was so
yeah.
meaningful to me
Yeah.
to see that, and the way they did the music and all the characters are like in awe, like what's happening, the way they set that up. That was like an emotional release for me, because I love that character. And the same sort of thing, not to the level obviously of Luke Skywalker, but same sort of thing I had here. And it's like, that's why I love this show and I love Star Wars, because it can make me feel something with the storytelling.
100%. And like, yeah, it just feels so earned, and I can't wait to see all the amazing things that she's gonna do in the future with it.
I know. Can't wait.
I was furious. Okay, but whatever, we'll get there. We'll get there. So they're off fighting this jetpack battle, and we cut back to Den and Gideon, and they are facing off, and this is where we get the most mustache twirly of all
Jesus
monologues.
Christ.
Matthew. Here's the thing: is Giancarlo Esposito is an incredible actor.
Yep.
He is an actor. He is a thespian.
Yep.
Okay.
Agreed.
Like, you watch Breaking Bad, and he has this quiet menace and gravitas to everything that he does. So why is this so bad? I don't understand.
The writing's bad. Honestly, the acting is bad. And I don't blame him. I blame the director, Rick Famuyiwa, and Jon Favreau.
Rick,
They're the ones that came together with this. And I could not believe how bad this comes across. And I literally face palmed as I was watching this. I was like,
no.
I was like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing it like this? I don't get it. He comes across such a goofball. I mean,
Yes. Yeah, it's super goofy, but also I mean, is this a situation where you and I, because we do look into everything and we do all of the supplementary reading and watching, that like other people actually really needed this explained? To us it felt redundant, because he's like, and then I was going to give it force powers, and we're like, yeah, no shit, obviously we already got that.
Oh yeah, I think the average person going into this has no fucking clue what his plan is. Like, because the writing has been so bad this season. They have not explained anything. They have not, like, we got back in season 1, right? They're talking about you taking the midichlorians from Grogu, and Pershing needs blah blah blah. They need all that. That's 2 seasons. What is that? 4 years ago when people saw that. Nobody had there's been no through line with Gideon through this entire season. Like, everyone knew he was coming back, but they didn't even show him until last episode. And then it's like, oh, we're at episode 8. We have to just spew out what the plan was so we can wrap this up immediately. And I was so furious. Like, I could not believe how bad the writing was, and the plotting and the storytelling. It was quite unbelievable, honestly, because the first 2 seasons have been so great. How did you fumble it this bad?
It's just weird because it's played like a big reveal, and I was just like, no, but like wait, what? Isn't that what we've been doing on like all of the Star Wars shows for the last since the sequels? Like, haven't we're all on board with what's happening here, right? Since episode 1 of The Mandalorian, this is where this has been going. So that's why I was very confused why it was played like some big reveal. Not just to The Mandalorian, but to the audiences. You know what I mean?
Like, well, I think the idea that he was cloning himself might have been the big reveal, right?
Right.
He's cloning himself, and then people would put that's why he needed Grogu, because he wants to do Force clones. stupid. Stupid. The whole thing is stupid.
Oh, Matthew, I'm so sorry.
It's stupid.
I feel like such like secondhand disappointment and sadness because I know like you're going hard, but it comes from a place of like pain.
It is.
Yeah.
And what disappoints me so much is it didn't need to be this way.
Yeah.
Like the same thing with Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan show. It didn't
Yeah.
need to be that way, and it's like they like Jon Favreau, you know, and I started thinking about this because Jon Favreau sort of kickstarted the MCU, right? He did the first Iron Man movie. I think
Yeah.
most people liked the first Iron Man movie.
For sure.
Then he did 2, and then he did 3, and I think most people think those kind of suck.
Oh.
Those movies are not something that people. Oh yeah, I put Iron Man 3 on the top tier of stuff. People love the character of Iron Man, but nobody puts those Iron Man movies up as some of the best Marvel movies, except maybe the very first one for nostalgia purposes, right? And I'm beginning to believe that Jon Favreau knows how to start things, but he doesn't know how to finish things.
Yeah.
And that is amplified to a million degrees with this episode in this whole season. Honestly, he's setting up things that are like, oh well, this would be kind of cool, like, where is it going? Can't finish.
It's just crazy because he's like playing with the best, like the best toys you could possibly have, like they're like the hot toys, you know, like it has everything you possibly need to make something spectacular, from the lore, the characters, the technology, the everything, and you can see it's all here. It's like this stew of amazing stuff, but the final product is just not coming together. It's like not gelling.
And he had to have seen that, right? There, like, anytime, and it's been my belief, whenever you have these big IPs and you have, like, they're very, very successful, Lucasfilm, you need to hire a no man or a no woman, right? Everybody has yes people around them, okay? It's like you also need to have people like, no. Nope. If you're gonna do this, at least I told you this is gonna fail spectacularly with the audience. And I want to believe that Dave Filoni's that guy, but I don't think that Dave Filoni, they're giving him a movie, right? They're giving him his own show. I don't think he's going to kind of rock the boat in that way. And I don't know what his relationship is with Jon Favreau, and if they even have that kind of relationship. I honestly don't know. But, I want to believe that Dave Filoni probably saw this stuff, just like he saw the sequel trilogy stuff, and he's probably like, no.
I'm gonna have to do so much work.
No. Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm gonna have to fix so much shit. I guess it's keeping him employed.
That's true. That is true. I wonder, but I mean, some of it could just be that he's so busy. Like maybe he just doesn't have the same kind of.
That has been a big thing that people have been saying, and I don't know if it's and if Dave Filoni is at fault for some of this, he deserves some blame for some of it for sure. But I don't know what actually happened. But a lot of people online have given him the benefit of the doubt because they're like, when Mandalorian season 3 was happening, he was making Ahsoka. Yeah. Like he was writing all the scripts of Ahsoka. He directed a bunch of episodes of Ahsoka. Ahsoka is like his baby. And what can we honestly believe he was really, he could take on that and also try to fix Mando season 3? I blame Jon Favreau way more for this than I blame Dave Filoni.
Yeah. Also, just for the record, if there's ever been a job in the world for you, it is to be the no guy in Hollywood.
Seriously,
because you would be, you'd be like Steven Spielberg. No.
Wait. You want to direct Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Let me look at the script. No, Steven. I don't care how much you love George. Let me tell George, bad idea. Aliens, bad idea.
You were like born for that job.
I would. How do I get that job? The no man at Lucasfilm. How?
Oh, you would be so amazing at it. Because you are fearless. You are fearless.
I don't even want a huge salary. Just give me like $48,000 a year and pay for wherever I have to live in California, and I'll be fine. That's fine. Just give me the scripts. I'll say no. I'll just highlight and cross out things in red marker and change things that need to be changed.
I know you'd be like, get the man on the phone.
How
I'll tell
do
him
I
no to
get
his
this?
face.
I would.
I know you would. As you were saying it, I was like, most people would be so cowed, but you would be like, bring me the phone. I
Fuck
need
you,
to
certain
say
senator
no.
I can't name.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. All right, where were we? That's right, monologuing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Mustache twirling.
Mustache twirling. Okay, so while they're monologuing and mustache twirling, Bo shows up and she gets her rematch with Gideon, freeing up Din to go find Grogu, who is facing off with the Praetorian Guard in a scene that is, again, on like out of context, pretty fun. Like he's doing the little Yoda jump around. It's kind of comical, and also the stakes feel fairly intense because it's Grogu versus these people that just took down Big Daddy Vizsla.
I actually like Pedro Pascal's voice work in this. Like when the Praetorian Guard are going after Grogu, he is like freaked the fuck out. Like he thinks that Grogu's gonna die.
Yeah.
And I like that. You know, the emotion in his voice really came through.
Yeah. No, I agree completely. And I just want to say, for the record, the Praetorian Guard look so amazing.
Yeah, they always
were
do.
like the best part of which one was that? The second one? Yeah, third one? I don't know. Whichever the
Last Jedi was the one where they fought. Right.
That scene's awesome. That scene is great.
Oh, maybe it's Rise of... No, it is The Last Jedi because it kills Snoke, and then they have the big battle.
Oh, Snoke. Okay, anyway.
Pickled Snoke.
You're just reminding me of shit that annoyed me. Let's move on.
That's what we should do for future episode. We should rewatch the sequel trilogy.
Ooh.
That's what we should do.
Okay. We'll just like Mystery Science 3000 and
just watch them live, like stream them on and watch them. Yeah.
Okay, so we do kind of get a cool fight scene here that I really liked, which was basically, you know, Din's skill and brute strength and tactics with the help of Grogu using the Force, and seeing them team up, and it ties back to this theme of like Mandalorians, when they're together, they're stronger. This is like a small little microcosm of that with their relationship. Like neither of them could defeat these three on their own, but when these Mandalorians come together, they're able to take them down. It's kind of a cool moment that actually serves the themes of this episode, I think.
Is cool. I agree with you. One thing I would have liked to have seen is they kind of tease. I think it was season 1 when Grogu force chokes Cara Dune.
Oh,
and you get that.
We're in real life.
You get that, and you get that sort of hint of Darkseid. I would have loved if he would have whipped that thing out again and just force choked one of those guys up into the air while Din is trying to do something like that, and you sort of see that. You know, that dark side nature of it to set up Grogu as a character going forward, where you're like, okay, how is he going to navigate not falling to the dark side of the Force? I would have loved to seen something like that.
Yeah. Also, would like to have seen a little bit more of his backstory, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. All right. So they come back out. It's looking like we get back to Moff and Bo, and they're fighting, and he once again makes her an offer. Like, if you give me the dark saber, I will give you a warrior's death. She turns him down this time, having learned her lesson from the last betrayal. And then my head exploded.
I thought of you when I saw this scene and how it ultimately turns out. And I was like, Rachel is going to be so furious.
You were not wrong, sir. I was like, when he crushes that dark saber, I was just like, what am I doing with my life right now? I have been living for this moment. Like, there has been so much thought and passion and, you know, theories and emotion invested in this freaking lightsaber, and then for it to just be like crushed and thrown away like it's nothing. Like, I get what they're getting at. The idea that what she has inside is what actually makes her the right person to lead the Mandalorians, that she doesn't need this symbol, like she is that symbol. But how dare you? How dare you? Just destroy it like it's nothing.
Not only that, but it's coupled with, after all of this time, that we spent with Bo-Katan, she still fucking loses.
Yes, I was getting there. Yes.
She still does not beat him. And
no. Yeah.
Again,
it's infuriating.
This is probably like one of the worst moments in Star Wars. Like if we were going to make a top 10 of the moments in Star Wars that we think are just the worst, this is right near the top. I mean,
yep.
To me, I couldn't believe, and I 100% agree with you. I understand where they're going. I understand where the Darksaber has been this object that has destroyed the Mandalorian culture, essentially. It's divided their people. It's done all of this thing, and they put all of their sort of faith into this object. And it's been such a destructive force. Yes. Now, here's a writer in me coming out. If I'm going to make the decision to destroy the Darksaber, okay, if I'm like, okay, this is where the end game is. I don't want this thing around anymore. I'm not going to have Gideon fucking do it. I'm going to have Bo-Katan defeat Gideon with it. And then when she's in front of all of her people and she has it there, she destroys it.
Yes.
And then says, look, this is not us. We don't need this anymore. And I, as leader, am choosing to ensure that we are no longer divided by this trinket, and destroys it herself. Yep. That is how you write the scene.
Yes, agree. This is like my Luke throwing away the lightsaber moment.
Oh, God, yes. Oh. See, now don't even get me started on that.
But yeah, I mean, like, not only does, like, there's this build up to this rematch, and that she is going to, because we know that she didn't even fight him before. She turned it over. So, like, this is the redemption moment. She doesn't get her redemption moment, and she is rescued by the other two.
Yes. It's horrible writing.
Infuriating. And it's like they did Bo so dirty.
Yep.
Bo deserved better. Like, that's the hill I die on.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I understand that there's real world problems, but the thing I'm most furious is that Bo deserved better.
I 100% agree with you. This is your analogy to Luke Skywalker is apt because this is like. So, like, what is the word I'm looking for? There's like a phrase I'm trying to search for my ADHD mind, but this is like such a betrayal of the character that we've followed forever.
Character assassination.
Yeah, like this is how I felt when they wrote Luke Skywalker how he was in Last Jedi. I felt that was an ultimate betrayal of that character and everything that character stood for. Yeah. And I know, I mean. I did not like Game of Thrones. I know lots of people did, but I know like Daenerys, for example, right? People really hated how they wrote that character because it was a betrayal of the character. A lot of people felt. And they did the same fucking thing here. And they didn't give her that moment where she, well, we'll get to like lots of moments they don't even show after this shit all wraps up here. But I am with you 1,000%. I was so mad. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah.
And Dave Filoni did not write this one, and I would love to put some what is it, sodium pentothal or something, stick it in Dave Filoni. Dave, how did you feel about this decision here with Bo-Katan, a character that you helped create?
It's infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating. It's like, here's the thing: is this is the season of the anticlimax. That's what this is. Like there was so much setup, not just in Clone Wars with this, but like with the last season of Mandalorian.
Yes.
And it's just like we're just burning off these cliffhangers. We're burning off these really seemingly important plot beats, in a way that is deeply unsatisfying.
It's like they don't matter. It's like none of it actually mattered. We're subverting your expectations. You loved that in The Last Jedi, didn't you? No.
No. They did this, and they gave me a Canto Bite episode. I'm pissed. Okay, anyway. So
see, now you're on my level. Feel the hate flow through you.
Like my fingers are sparking. I don't know what's happening. So, this is all interrupted by the third man that shows up to save Bo-Katan. That would be Axe Woves, who was crashing their ship into the base.
We haven't even talked about Axe.
Oh, Axe, who was, turns out, not a spy. And the Armorer, not a spy.
Not a spy.
No spies.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess, you know what? Maybe that's why Casca Reeves had nothing to say, because she was quietly spying. I don't know. She's the last one it could be. But, anyway, so he crashes the ship in, presumably destroying the base and also maybe killing Gideon. We see him engulfed in flames, but who freaking knows?
In his Jesus Christ pose.
Oh, my God.
Insert Soundgarden clip right there.
And then Grogu saves the day by creating a force bubble and protecting them from the fire, and everybody's
just like he did in season 1. You know, same exact thing he did in season 1. Because writing,
it's called the callback, Matthew. And if you understood the importance of writing,
very creative, John. Very creative.
So after that, we cut to the waters of Mandalore, where Ragnar is saying his oath at last, and then Din's like, "Yo, what about my kid?" And they're like, "No, he's too young. He can't." Listen, I support Mandalorian culture because they clearly care about consent, and enthusiastic consent is important, and so they reject him at first, but then Din's like, no, I adopt him officially. His name is now Din Grogu, and I'm taking away his consent. He is now a Mandalorian. But it's okay because the Mythosaur approves.
To be fair, when the armorer says no, they turn to Grogu, and Grogu looks sad.
That's true. His little ears do go.
I think he wants to be a Mandalorian like his dad.
Okay. Okay.
Fair. I think there is consent there. I think the story beat of how they sort of like, all right, well, adoption explains it all away. Sure, he doesn't have to talk adoption.
Yes.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. The writing is bad. So bad. Yeah, but then I guess Grogu connects with the Mythosaur. Yeah. Which I guess if there's a silver lining to the shitty writing of the season, I guess we didn't. Well, because we were like,
cool, man.
It is cool, but I guess we were like, oh, are they gonna make Bo ride the Mythosaur this quick?
She better ride that fucking Mythosaur.
Yeah, how cool would it have been to see her ride the Mythosaur with the dark saber in hand?
Stop it, Matthew.
How cool would that have been?
I can only have so many orgasms. Please stop.
like, how about she rises out of the ground with the Mythosaur and takes out Gideon that way with the darksaber? How about that, John? How about that? If you're gonna give us like the feels moments, like, ooh, people like this action, and ooh, look at this, how about just give us what we want then? If you're gonna burn through the story as fast as fucking possible this season and just give us, the highlights here and there with no substance, give us what we want then.
Right?
Just give us what we want.
And then at least the kaiju coming out of the ground would have been foreshadowing or something.
Yeah. They didn't even need to have a kaiju. That was pointless to have it come out of the ground because they were already taking them to the Great Forge anyway.
Yeah. But there was not action for 1 minute, so they needed a kaiju, okay?
They're talking to all the 3 seasons. Even Quill, your ancestors rode the Great Mythosaur. Well, hopefully we'll get to see that someday.
Well, I mean, come on. They've got, after doing us dirty with that darksaber, they've got to give us the Mythosaur. They've got to.
It's got to be a Thrawn thing, right? They got to save it for Thrawn trying to take the planet back or something. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, the Mythosaur approves. Listen, this is going to be the test, though. Like, when Ahsoka comes out, if it's not good, we have a problem. If it is good, then we can very freely and comfortably play Jon Favreau.
There is a lot of pressure on Mr. Filoni. No baloney Filoni has a lot of pressure on him right now.
All right. So after he does the baptism, Din leaves and goes to the New Republic outpost where he meets up with Carson Teva, another character I wish we could have spent more time with. Hopefully we will in something else. I don't know what. And he basically just makes a deal with him to go back to bounty hunting just for the Republic and off the books. And there's some like, I don't know. But then eventually, of course, Teva agrees because we need to set up the next season. Although who knows if it will actually be anything. And in the process, talking about callbacks, Mando spots an IG head and he takes that as payment. And that is great episode 1 payoff time. Are you ready? We go back to Navarro, or the Anzelians.
The most important planet in the galaxy.
For reasons, question mark. The Anzelians, who are actually the MVPs of this season, use that head to make the town a new marshal. So he doesn't have to be the marshal, and they are now protected by Mr. Servo and Protect. Mr. Servo and Protect. Haha, now who's got the dad jokes?
He's back to IG-11 now.
Yep.
He's now IG-11.
And for all of his good works, Karga gives Den a cabin outside the city where he can hang out with Grogu.
Which he already did in episode 2, but we'll forget about that.
Yeah. But it has a pond for frog torturing, so it's cute for everyone. The end. The end.
Yeah. Yep, it's an end. I mean, it is an end.
It is an end. Listen, if we didn't know it was already renewed and coming back, it actually is an end because it did tie up a lot of the plot lines from the first season, I guess. Maybe?
No, I
Happy
mean,
ending?
I think I think in the most unsatisfying way one could possibly tie up all that stuff, then yes, it did.
Technically, yeah, it's correct.
It did end all this. I think it's clear that what they were planning to do with Cara Dune and Rangers of the New Republic is now turned into season 4 of The Mandalorian, because they're talking about taking out the Empire. That's what he's talking about. He's like, hey, yeah, I'll take it on a case-by-case basis because, we will have to have plot for other shit. But these because he's got to take Grogu on his journey. The armor's like, you got to take him on adventures so he can get, I guess, fighting skills as the Mandalorian, just like your, person did with you. And so I think this is kind of a reset. They're going to reset it back to it's just Mando and Grogu going on adventures, but they're going to be going after Empire remnant stuff. All those stories are going to tie into the Empire. That's how Thrawn's going to come into it, and they'll eventually, probably by the end of episode 1, they will have encountered Thrawn because we'll burn through it that quickly. Yes. And that's where it's going. And I was very, very upset that there was no scene with Bo and Din at all after this whole thing with Gideon goes down. Not a single thing. And Christian Harloff, when I was watching it, he said the exact same thing. He was like, not even a goodbye. They've been together the whole fucking series, like the whole season. It's Bo and Mando. They made this great connection in episode 7 where Bo's like, I will never leave you. I'm here with you to the bitter end, baby. You and me. And he doesn't even say goodbye to her. And I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. It's so bad.
Look for that song has sung until your song is sung.
Yeah,
that was her song? Her song? That was it?
That
song is whack.
We don't even get Bo with all the other Mandos. We don't even get to see like,
Jesus.
Holy, we got our planet back. Well, we got. I mean, I guess we kind of have the armor, and they kind of do a thing where she's standing in front of everybody, but it's done so poorly that they light the Great Forge, right? So it's back, but there's. I hate it. I hate it.
I mean, it's like check, but like no emotional catharsis. Like none of that. I could have done with. I didn't need IG-12 or 11. I didn't need it. Nope. I could have. If you really just like the runtime was that tight, I would have used that 1 minute to like have even just a wistful look between her and Mando's mask, like something. And I'm not even shipping them romantically, but like that is the emotional core of that relationship. Is the emotional core of the season. You're so right about that. So to shortchange us, that's part of why I felt so like blah at the end.
This is one of the most disappointing things I've seen in a long time, and so disappointing because we just saw Andor. We saw how great it was. We were watching the Bad Batch, and all those episodes are so great, and the finales are so like. Again, we everyone's going into with no Thrawn whatsoever. Yeah. Not even a post-credit sequence. Sort of teasing, which is so weird when they, like, literally the weekend before, they used Star Wars Celebration to,
Yeah.
announce Lars Mikkelsen as Thrawn. Thrawn is
Yeah.
coming. They name drop him in 7, and they don't even set him up. And what's so weird to me is like they've done so many things where they've like name drop different people, and they're using this as all one big interconnected story, and then you don't even use the finale to incorporate any of these characters. Like, why would Boba Fett not have shown up here? Wouldn't it have been amazing? Because in Book of Boba Fett, or maybe it's season 2 of Mando, Bo-Katan hates Boba Fett. She doesn't even think he's a real Mandalorian. They have that fight. Remember, it's not between Boba, it's between, I think it's Casca, right? Don't they
Yeah.
they have a fight in that bar?
Yeah.
Why could you not have brought Boba Fett in and shown some sort of tension between him and other Mandalorians? And then, maybe he has to do something that earns Bo-Katan's good graces, or something of that nature. Like, follow up on that thread, between the two of them that you've already fucking established. We've already seen Mando went to Tatooine to help Boba Fett. They're friends, they're buddies. Why would Boba Fett not do the same thing for Mando? Why would they not ask, hey, Boba, can you fly over here real quick and help retake Mandalore, the Mandalorian homeworld? It doesn't make sense.
Well,
that
maybe
these
he called
characters
him and he
missing.
was in the back to tank and didn't pick up.
Oh shit! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Okay,
And
I
Mando-
have an alternate. Like, what if we post-credit scenes cut to Sabine? She is on Lothal, and she discovers that Mandalore has been retaken, and it's like this cathartic moment where because she, her part in the whole Darksaber and creating that weapon that like destroyed Mandalore, to know that it still lived. I'm just saying.
I like it, but she wouldn't know that it was destroyed. So
She would-
would she be angry or happy when she found out that it's been destroyed by Moff
No.
Gideon?
It hasn't been destroyed though. Like, what I'm saying is, like, she'd find out that like there was still like Mandalore still was a thing, because they're there with the Forge. So to know that people.
Oh,
the
okay. So
planet
you're not
had
talking
as
about
a
the
future.
Darksaber itself. You're just
No,
talking
no, no,
about
no,
that.
no, no, no,
Okay.
no, no, no. Specifically, if she just because she was so involved in that plot line with the Darksaber and everything, and that it feels like she would be a natural fit into like some sort of bookend, and then moving into Ahsoka. Like, she feels like a perfectly acceptable vehicle moving into the next series.
Yeah, that would be cool, but that would mean writing would need to occur, and that would mean that forethought of character development that you're setting up would need to be done, and that doesn't seem to have happened this season.
That's true.
This is the exact same bullshit that Jon Favreau did in the Book of Boba Fett. It's the same shit. He did the same thing with Cad Bane. He popped him in the penultimate episode, and suddenly Cad Bane is the big bad of the season. Just like this one, he popped Gideon in the penultimate episode. There's no through line. There's no. It's get to. Ooh, this would be a cool scene, right? This would be cool. This would be cool. He should have just. I assume he's watched Andor. I assume he's watched it and then like, wow, this is really good. Maybe I should build these things up more. And it doesn't have to be Tony Gilroy level of writing. But just scenes. Add scenes. It costs them nothing to have a scene. They're already in the volume. Add 2 minutes of dialogue between Bo and Mando about, thank you so much for your help, your assistance. Maybe they do have a little moment between one another. Where are you going? I got to go out and help Grogu become another foundling man, become a Mandalorian. Cool. I mean, she almost had kind of like a motherly relationship with Grogu at certain points in this too, and they don't even. She doesn't even interact with Grogu at all.
You're so right.
And
oh my God.
and I'm just kind of like this. Okay, this is what this reminds me of. This reminds me of the big thing that I hate about The Force Awakens, and that is when Han dies, and they all come back. And they fucking ignore Chewbacca. There's not a single scene of what does Chewbacca feel about this? They literally run past Chewbacca, and they have their little thing, and then I think J.J. Abrams later on is like, oh yeah, well that was our bad. We should have done something with Chewbacca. Okay, you have these characters. It's so fucking obvious. You don't have Han Solo without Chewbacca. How are you so stupid to just forget to write a little moment of Chewbacca. What is Chewbacca's reaction when he finds out Han dies? What is Luke's reaction when he finds out Han dies? Well, they shot that, but they cut it out of the movie for reasons.
Is that true?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a deleted
no.
scene in I don't know if it's Force Awakens or The Last Jedi. Oh yeah, it's The Last Jedi because Rey mentions to him that Han has died, and there's a sequence with Luke Skywalker, and he's in his little like rock temple or whatever, and Mark Hamill does this really great job of this emotional moment because it would be one of the most impactful things that he could go through, and they cut it out of the movie, and again,
strange.
you gotta have, and I mean this finale, by the way, when you took somebody actually added up when you took out the hey previously on the opening credits and the end credits, it was 33 minutes long. 33 minutes. Are you kidding me? You couldn't have 10 extra minutes of just character interactions with one another, wrapping shit up, especially if you're like, okay, we're going to end on like an Irish shot, and hey, it's all good. Mando's happy. Grogu's happy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like on one hand, we don't get happy endings usually in these shows, and so like it does subvert your expectations. I'll give it that. That is not where I thought we would end the season. But it also, I don't know, man. I'm trying to find like something positive to say about it, but it's really hard because I just felt like, are my expectations too high? Am I setting myself up for failure? I don't know.
No, because we know what the right outcome is. We said it on this show. This is how Bo-Katan's story ends. And this is how the Darksaber story ends.
Yeah.
When a show like this, when you're looking at, myth IP, right? Mythologies and characters that have spanned years and stuff like that, you as a writer must be cognizant of what the people who love those characters are going to come to expect. I don't want to hear this bullshit about subverting expectations. Sometimes stories need to have the outcomes that they are designed and planned to have and what people expect them to have. Why did Luke Skywalker, when Luke showed up, if you watch like the reaction videos on YouTube of Star Wars fans in the finale of the season 2 of Mandalorian, when Luke shows up and you have people crying their eyes out, because it's such an emotional impact. It's not Luke shows up, oh wait a minute, no, sorry, I'm out, guys, figure it out yourself, and flies away, like tossing a lightsaber over his shoulder.
Right.
You need those moments, and why as a writer you would not want people to have those moments is insane. Do you know how difficult it is to have people to write something that gets an emotional reaction out of people? And you can go to any Star Wars fan, any fan of Bo-Katan, and say, okay, what would be your ideal way for all of this to end? Every single one would tell you pretty much the same thing. Okay, yeah, she's got to be the one that defeats Gideon.
Yes,
she's
100%.
She's got to do it. No Mando, no Grogu, no bullshit. She's the one that does it. She might struggle for a bit. That's fine. But she's got to come out on top. And okay, we like the Darksaber. If you want to go with it, I can buy this. I can buy destroying this thing, but she's got to be the one that does it. And it's got to be in front of everybody. So that's how she unites her people. And she has fulfilled the promise of her character for the past 15 fucking years. Everybody would say that. Every Star Wars fan would say that. But it's like these people don't even attempt to... I just hated it, and I'm not gonna. Again, I say shit like it is. I will watch season 4. I love the characters in this show, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This season was bullshit trash. There were moments that were like, oh, that was cool, or well, that could have been developed into something cool, and they completely botched it. They fell straight on their face, and this goes all the way back to Book of Boba Fett. This is one long, continuous fuck up that Jon Favreau had as showrunner. It's his fault, ultimately. It's him. I give him credit for the first 2 seasons of Mando. great, but he has not shown an ability over the last two shows that he has been the series runner on to be able to tell any thoughtful, coherent story
Mhm.
whatsoever. And I can't hide my disappointment. I can't.
Yeah. It's interesting that it's also this pattern of like the show within the show being the strongest part. In Boba Fett, it was the Mandalorian episodes. In this,
Hmm.
it was like the Elia Kane episodes.
Yeah,
So, like that Dr. Pershing episode was like so elevated
it was
compared
cool.
to
It was so
like,
cool, but again,
mhm,
it was out of context because
mhm,
you could have like look what Andor does. Andor takes a million different characters and storylines and is
yeah,
intersplicing them
yeah,
throughout each episode. Put all that purging stuff in episode like part of it in episode 1. Introduce him there to remind
yeah,
the audience, "Oh yeah, this was the guy from season 1." Okay, yeah, okay, what's he doing? And then tease all of this shit out for the
yeah,
throughout the interspersed. Don't put it in one 45-minute block in the middle of of the series where people are like, "What?" Because
right,
now they just feel like they're lost. They're like, this killed the momentum of what I was looking at, what I was into here. It makes no sense. Um, I'll get off my
yeah.
soapbox now.
No.
Any
I mean,
final
it would have
thoughts that you got
saved
on
us
this?
from that monologue. You know what I mean? If we had been with
Yes.
Pershing through the whole thing, we wouldn't have needed all the mustache twirling.
Yes, 1,000%. And like we just saw Bad Batch. They're
Mm-hmm.
okay. So obviously, aside from the treasure episodes,
Yeah. Yeah.
like if because Jeff has started to watch the Bad Batch, I'm like I'm gonna curate some episodes for you,
Perfect.
because I want him to be able to get through it and realize how good it is without having to
Yeah.
suffer through. In the same way, the Clone Wars. Clone Wars
Yeah.
has some episodes that are for kids,
Oh, yeah.
for kids. But I'm like, look at who like the writers of the Bad Batch on like episodes 7 and 8. The replacement of the clone troopers and stuff, and the defense authorization bill and all that shit
Ooh.
like that. Those writers did something better in those two episodes. Like take Andor out of the equation. Just the
Yeah.
writers of the actual animated stuff that Dave Filoni's doing did a way better job setting the world and the pacing and the story than this season did.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
was bad. It was bad, and it
Yeah.
makes me genuinely worried. And Steve was right. I gotta hand it to him. Steve was right. He said that, hey, I'm really worried about how this is gonna go, especially after he watched Book of Boba Fett. He was like,
Yeah.
this is real bad, guys. And he didn't even watch the season because he
Yeah.
was afraid, and he was right. And now I
Yeah.
fear for season 4 of The Mandalorian. I do.
I mean, hopefully, maybe this is like some weird pivot season because they're decided they're gonna like they use this as the launching pad for wherever we're gonna be going with the other series is. Where when we get back to this one, those will have launched and it can be its own thing again. Because that's going to be essential, I think, if we want season 4 to course correct.
I think they're setting up a course correction. Honestly, hey,
Yeah.
it's just Din and Grogu gonna go have adventures together and whatnot. But I'm worried that the casual, because here's the thing, Disney is a business, right?
Yeah. Of course.
They want subscribers to their streaming services. That's why they're doing this. That's why they have all these shows and they're pumping tons of money into this. Is the cat we're always going to watch. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Even though this
Oh,
has a bad
totally.
taste in my like Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, horrible taste in my mouth to this day. Doesn't mean I stop loving Star Wars and I'm not going to watch every new thing that comes out.
Of course.
But the casual people are the ones
Yeah.
that Disney's worried about. The corporation Disney's worried about. If you have a casual person watching Book of Boba Fett, going like, "Well, this sucked," and then you follow up with, "Oh, Obi-Wan, cool." Well, this sucked, and then you have, "Oh, well, Mando." Well, we'll go back to Mando. We know that's good, and then this season sucked. If that's what they're coming away with, if that's their their take on all of this stuff and the quote unquote Favreau verse that's happening, are they gonna come and watch Ahsoka? Right? Or they're like, well, like I don't care about this. Is Ahsoka gonna be hurt by the fact that they're not getting the numbers streaming wise? That maybe like Disney is the corporation is like, well, what's going on here? Is Disney gonna sort of course correct and be like, no more of this. Let's focus on the acolyte and stuff in that side. I mean, are we gonna lose the content that we kind of want to see because of they're gonna, viewership drops off, or they get less of a budget. So we're not gonna get these crazy Mandalorian, jetpack battles and the great visual effects, and it's gonna be more the volume stuff where hanging out. I don't know.
I mean, the first couple of seasons that were better didn't have all that.
I know.
So, I don't know, but I guess my question is, does the average viewer feel that way?
I don't
or
know.
is it just the nerds like us? Like, are we just the nerds screaming into the internet, but the average viewer's like, listen, it was cool. People shot things, and there were blaster fires and robots and
ultimately it's kids, right? Ultimately, it's about kids.
And they probably love this. They probably love it.
Do the kids like it, and then they tell their mom, I still want Disney Plus because there's a new Star Wars show coming out. But we'll see. We'll see. But overall, my final thoughts. I think this finale sucked a lot of dick. Honestly, it was terrible. Not in a good way. It was real bad. I think the season was bad. I still love the characters. I don't know how Dave Filoni can fix Bo-Katan after this. I don't know what he could possibly do to sort of redeem this, aside from having to ride a mythosaur, I suppose.
Yep.
In some sort of cool
so
way.
That mythosaur.
But yeah, any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm with you. I think this season had some high highs and some low lows, and it's disappointing. But I am glad that we're living in an era where this disappointment is not something I'm going to have to live with for a long time.
Yeah.
That there's going to be something new. And if there's one thing we've learned, even when Star Wars disappoints you, something is going to come along that's going to like renew your love and your faith in the IP. And so, yeah, this was a bummer, but my Star Wars love goes unabated.
So we're going to take a little bit of a break, ladies and gentlemen, over the next few months, because we're waiting for Ahsoka. I think it comes out in August, something like that. We're gonna plan a few different Star Wars themed episodes over the summer, but it won't be like a week to week sort of thing. Take a little decompress a little bit from the bullshit that was the season of Mandalorian. Maybe I'm gonna go back and rewatch Rebels in time to sort of like get ready for Ahsoka. I'm gonna rewatch Andor. My fiance actually didn't get to watch Andor. She watched the first season, and then stuff came up, and she wasn't able to watch the rest of it.
A good time.
Yeah, so I'll be able to rewatch it again. So I'll get that like love of Star Wars back into into my brain.
Yeah.
And in my head canon, we all know how Bo-Katan actually solved this crisis.
We're just gonna stick with the headcanon. I'm halfway through Heir of the Empire. Basically, we're just doing our homework. We're gonna be ready. We're gonna.
Do you like it so far?
Of course.
Okay.
It's great. I mean, I will say Thrawn is kind of insufferable. I like him less than I did on Rebels. But
interesting.
Can I tell you, I have a new favorite character I need to show up in either live action or animation, and that is one Talon Card. He is the swashbuckling best.
Yep. I have the books. I haven't started rereading them yet, but that's also on my to-do list coming up here. Is I had so much shit going on, man. So much shit. But and plus you'll be here in less than a month, 3 weeks. So maybe we'll do an impromptu Star Wars show from the Airbnb. Get everybody on and let everybody hash out their Star Wars feelings right then and there. Maybe we'll do something like that.
I like it. Let's do it.
Cool. Thanks once again for listening to Nobody's Listening here on Outpost Unknown. We'll be back at some point in the near future. Until then, go full dark side on Jon Favreau.
Oh, wow. I was going to say something positive, but I'm just going to let you have that. Bye, everybody.